Hello, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm used to working with two laptops, so it's like I would usually jump from one to the other and have all the kind of other bits and pieces in between as like a kind of the bit in the middle of the sandwich kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting working on the one.
Gerald, how did you go from house and techno, acid house into jungle?
Kind of, I think in them days it was all part of the same thing to me. I mean, I kind of was dancing to like jazz and went from dancing to jazz to kind of electro funk in the kind of 80s kind of thing. And like electro funk for me was like anything that was like electronic. And then I started to listen to the kind of stuff that was coming out of America at the time. And I'd already bought a drum machine and stuff because I was into like cutting and scratching and stuff to the drum machine because I'd heard like electro music like that. And was doing a lot of breakdancing and stuff like that. And I heard, I think, something like Clear by Cybertron, I think was the first thing that I heard that was, someone says that was techno. And then I started to hear a lot of the other stuff that was coming out of Detroit a little bit later, and some of the stuff that was coming out of Chicago. And yeah, I started to get into doing that stuff because I had like similar equipment. And so I started to make that kind of music, and then I started using samples and stuff a little bit later because I got a sampler. And like every time I got a new piece of equipment, the music kind of changed a little bit, and it just kind of developed and graduated into different things. But it was never, I never seen it as something that was totally separate, you know what I mean? I mean, I suppose if I was in the market, so to speak, which, like there was a lot of people around me that were into the market, you know, into monetizing, but I was in the studio, and kind of, especially in the kind of early days, I was kind of just like churning it out kind of thing. So I've never seen it. I mean, like if you listen to an album called 28 Gun Bad Boy, and basically if you listen to that, it was like a real mixture of stuff with break beats and some other stuff with like more like housey kind of acidy type things, and it was just like an experiment of like basically where you could go. I mean, in them days, a lot of people were restricted by memory because they just about got like their Atari, and then they got their like the first A Guy samplers and stuff. And but I was using an MPC 60, and which had Simping, so I was locking that to a tape machine. So and I was using the same samplers and stuff, but I was recording it onto tape, and because it was like recording on the tape, I had no kind of limit to how much kind of I could use really, so I didn't have to stick with one style either. I could change from one thing into another style or whatever. I could gel things together in that way, which I mean I found a little bit more interesting and a bit more exciting than just kind of going with like what became like the latest break of the day. But, yeah, I mean, I mean, even today, I mean, I try and encourage people to kind of just break it up a little bit, you know, make it a bit more so you can, you know, you're not just like locked into the one kind of groove or the one beat or whatever, or, you know, it's kind of become almost like a, well, some of it kind of, well, it did at one point. It became like a martial arts in a way. You know, it was like you would, like you would have an amen on your track, and basically your amen had to like mash amen up like badder than the last person done it before kind of thing, which is really, I mean, it was really cool because it added like this extra kind of drive kind of thing, and it made you want to work with the equipment, like, you know what I mean, and like what can I do that no one's done before kind of thing, and that I really like that. But then I don't know, that kind of disappeared when, you know, it was like, well, I'm not making money from being different, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I want to drive around in the Lamborghini, like what's his called or whoever. So I'm gonna kind of go down the same line as them, you know. And then that kind of, for me, that kind of killed it in a little way, because like the whole kind of let me try and do a different thing went to be like, well, he's doing that and he's doing all right, so let me do that too, you know what I mean, or something similar. I don't know. I can't really figure out what went wrong with that side of things, but it, you know, somehow, I mean, I don't want to get off on any names or anything who did some weird stuff, but like in the 80s we had this kind of what I used to call Eurotrash on MTV. Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like it was really weird, because it was like there was some alright stuff, but then there was this stuff where the video was always someone running or something. It was like really weird. Like there was no time with the video and what was going on, but it was. And then it was like, God, I can't wait for this to be over. You know what I mean? As soon as people discover like dance music, all this stuff is going to be over with. And something went wrong. I swear to God, it was like the kind of stole it in a way, you know what I mean? Or you know, I didn't ever imagine like a crowd of people who, you know, being at somewhere and like listening to like DX7s, but like really high frequency, like this stuff. I thought it was all going to be like, you know, people were going to recognize what a beeline was and be like, yeah, you know what I mean, really want it, like we want it, you know, want it to be even deeper. Let's just like make the entire dance floor into a trampoline and put like subwoofers underneath it. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be like that. So let's almost try and levitate like this, you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird. It's almost as if, yeah, the high frequency thing for me killed it. It's like totally like the really ravey, that rave synth thing. Like it was like some weird preset or something that somehow, but then what happens is like we follow the Americans, and so I ain't gonna say anything. Apart from one day I went into Sam Ash in New York, and like a hip hop guy was in there, and like he went over to the drum machine and he went like bang bang bang, and he went, yeah, that, and he played the preset. He was like, yeah, that's the tune, and he bought the machine, and I know that he was going to take it home, plug it in, and just press play and record. I could see it. He was like, yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? There's like, you know, there's no. I mean, there's a few people that are totally into like taking stuff and mashing it up. I mean, like in the early days, like electro funk and stuff like that. I mean, like if you listen to some of that stuff, I mean, like, you know, like Renegades of Funk, like African Bambaataa, like these guys, they took the 808, like they basically took output from every single channel that you could, and they treated every single instrument that came out with a different effect. You know what I mean? I swear to God, like they did that, and like you know, like to get that nowadays, you know, like someone actually doing that kind of, you know, like I mean, like, I suppose I'm a little teeny bit of an audiophile, and it's like when I listen to something, it's like, wow, you know, like even if it's something, I suppose a bit of it came from like the like kind of early jungle days where it was like, well, what did he do with that? Let's see what happened with it. You know what I mean? I'd love that to come back, so you kind of you know, I don't want, oh yeah, he's like taken that loop that was like someone's already compressed tune and it's been mastered already, and then he's put it in Ableton Live, and then like he's put it on a vinyl, and like because it's on a vinyl, it's like it's warm and it's real again. You know, it's like toasting toast. You know what I mean? It's done already. I mean, it's like you take real, not even just like real, but like you take bits of equipment or whatever, and then like record them and then treat them and try and. I mean, like there's a million and one effects and things out there to use, and I mean even like the software is really cool, you know what I mean? I think like a mixture of everything, you know what I mean? We've got like mad tools, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, we've got enough tools to take us into space, you know what I mean, in music, you know what I mean? We've got so much, it's crazy, and like just grabbing like a loop and, you know, sampling it because, you know, it's like the latest thing or whatever, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's happening all the time, but it just, when you know, you kind of go, because I don't like buy tunes or pick tunes by the artist, you know what I mean, I go off my ear. So if I've got to, you know, got to go and play tunes out, I've got to listen to them with my eyes closed. So I don't want to know who the artist is, I don't even want to know the name of the track. Just want to hear like how it feels and how it sounds, and I don't even care what they made it on, you know what I mean, but if it sounds good, then, you know what I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what you go for, and if not, then you've got to take all your equipment to the club, plug it all in, you know what I mean, so I'm trying to encourage everyone to do that, actually, so you can see what's going on. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling on about stuff, because it's probably done.
Well, talking about DJ sets, how do you approach a DJ set as opposed to a live set?
Well, I kind of go for the groove, and like I would probably start like really selfishly with something that I liked, but then I would see how the reaction was to what I was playing, and basically there's a left side and a right side of it, and without dictating to people too much, I would try and take them on the left side. I want it to be like kind of a little bit funky and a little bit more, you know, kind of left of centre in a way, like not too arty, but just like, you know, something a bit more, so it's not going down like trance or, you know, like this route like I mean, it could go down there too, you know, like just, you know, where you just do the loop. I like grooves that kind of have a little bit of a story or something to it. So, I mean, I would kind of approach it down the centre, but then I would try and take it on the side where the groove was like more than like half a bar long or something.
I'm sure there's some questions from the floor. Is anybody, here we go, straight away.
I'm actually really, really stoked to be able to ask you this in person. This is fantastic. You were just talking about the whole creativity and the fact you always want to take stuff left field. Does that kind of go right back to your inspiration to use Derek and Clive for the Peter Cook Dudley Moore for Voodoo Ray, which was the tune that, for me, kicked it all off? Is that something which you heard and you said, I have to use this, or was this you saying, no, I'm going to use this because it's different, and I'm going to use this because it's something which no one's heard before?
Yeah, it was. I mean, basically, it was something that no one had heard before.
Yeah.
But it was like I needed like something that was a chant in the track, and basically I mean, in them days I used to spend like every Sunday copying like spoken word records onto DAT tape.
Right.
And so when I got to the studio, basically I was going through like my spoken word DAT tape, and I found that thing which originally was Voodoo Rage,
Yes.
and I kind of like tried to sample it into the S9 900, but there wasn't enough time to sample it. Well, there was enough time, so it became Voodoo Ray. I mean, like, in them days, like, everything was kind of like, it was like really new and, I mean, like, sampling something, I mean, for me, it was like being able to be on the same level in a way, but not as, like, out of noise, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, we were dreaming of Fairlights and stuff like that, like, way before. I mean, like, when I heard, like, 19 by Paul Hardcastle, you know what I mean, I wanted a sampler, you know what I mean? So, like, by the time I'd got, you know, like, I had access to a sampler, it was like, well, okay, well, I'm going into the studio with, like, I don't know, every single thing that I've got on that, and stick it and, like, play around with, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I had a loop going on in the background, and then, like, you would write a beeline to it. You'd write a beeline. I mean, that's one of the things that I kind of, in a way, missing is like, I mean, actually, no, the new keyboard, the new rolling keyboard actually has a built-in sequencer. But like just like a hardware kind of sequencer thing that you can clock to and, like, you know, you can run an idea into. Yeah, arpeggiator is really cool. But anyway, going back to that, like being able to like kind of like have a groove meanwhile you're working sometimes, and then just playing. I would just like play like bits of spoken word over the top, and it's a kind of long process, you know what I mean? It would take like days sometimes to get things working properly, because you would find something that fit, but you would go through like a whole load of things, and yeah, I think it was one of them things, and then yeah, after that, I just kind of found all these other little samples and things that I could put over the top, and worked with it that way. But I mean, it wasn't something that felt like it was special or whatever. It was just, you know, something that was part of a whole load of other things that I was doing at the time. So,
awesome.
yeah.
Cheers.
No problem.
Yeah, hi.